Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plains. All right, I'm assuming the sound is good. Well, good morning, everybody. It's the 1st of May, isn't it? Isn't that nice? 1st of May. It's a Monday, first day of the month, first day of the week. Lots to do. I think we'll go through the commitment of traders report to look at the open positions of large institutional speculative investors. Do some technical analysis, maybe go through the calendar. Lots to do today, so let's get going, huh? So good morning. Let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please always stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Ni hao ma. My name is Wayne McDonald. I am the Chief FX Market Strategist for TradersWay.com. Thank you for being a client. We appreciate you. And thank you to forex.today for hosting us. We do these sessions 7:30 a.m. Monday through Friday here, except this Friday, I will be at fxstreet.com for Trade Non-Farm Payrolls Live. And I don't know what number it is. I think we're coming up to, is it 12 years, 11 years? 11 years. 133, yeah. Yeah, just 11 years. All right, cool. So it'll be good to see you over there at FX Street. But thanks for being here today. 1, 2, you rock. All right, so welcome to forex.today. Let's go through the site. Hopefully you see the commitment of traders report. Why is the screen on the right magnified? What? I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, Bill. All right, yes. So you can see the commitment of traders report. Yep. I'll just sip on my coffee. Please confirm you can see the commitment of traders report. It's bigger right side. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Right side is, oh. Yeah, I haven't changed any setting, but you could probably just click a button that fits. Maybe a resolution smaller as well. This is being broadcast in 1080p. So to fit the page, anyways. All right, so anyways, let's get going. Here's Euro. We're looking at open positions of large institutional speculative investors, not hedgers, not small retail investors, just institutional speculative traders. They report these to the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, otherwise known as the CFTC, on a weekly basis. This was released Friday afternoon after the close, but the data was compiled Tuesday last week, released Friday of last week, and so it's a little past, but it doesn't. It's still important, especially if you see the market at extreme levels, right? Especially if you see the market at extreme levels. So, what do you see here with the euro? Well, we've lost some bulls and we've lost some bears. And what's the net result of losing bulls and bears? Well, as you can see, over the course of about a month, on a net basis, nothing's really changed, and the market for the euro is essentially neutral. Just slightly bearish, but no one's really buying, no one's really selling. Now, I think that's important information, isn't it? Is this a good time to be aggressive, euro, when nobody seems to be getting in? And if anything, traders are getting out? So it seems like it probably has a propensity to go nowhere fast. Okay. So important, right? Look at this. We've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks with virtually no change in positions. I think that's important. Okay. And notice what happened to the market. Was the market ever really bullish, euro? Not extreme, right? And then look at the bears. These are short positions. It peaked at some point and has slowly been going down. Okay. Then you get to about this level and it's been moving basically sideways and slightly increase in bulls, essentially, up and down, but sideways in the bears. And you kind of get a choppy upward motion in euro dollar. But that doesn't scream like great opportunity to make easy money, does it? Well, you'll notice in this time period, I haven't covered euro even on a daily basis. Most days I don't even cover it. Well, maybe because it's not the best market to be in. Life is great, life is grand, life is good. All right, great big pig, right? The great big pig, Great British pound. Over the last 3 weeks, there's been an increase in bullishness and an increase in bearishness, but that tapered off last week. Okay. So there are a significant amount of bears. There are an increasing amount of bulls. Okay. And as far as the position for the market, The market is still clearly net short Great British pound. But it looks like we bottomed out because in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks, we have not been any shorter, if that makes sense. The market was stable for quite some time, and then some of the shorts are coming out, it looks like. Okay. This is an increase in bulls, as seen here. This is a decrease in bears, seen here. And so just slight turn of events. I wouldn't get all excited about it, but you can see what happens here when you have less bears. It looks like it's going up. Price seems to go up, not because of more bulls, but because of less bears. And again, this is a concept that amateur traders just don't get. So they see price going up and they're like, oh, it's bullish. Oh, price is going up, everybody's buying. But that's not necessarily true. And I think that's a key differentiator between smart money and dumb money, right? Dumb money just doesn't know what's going on. They think they know what's going on, but they don't. So that's why it's kind of good to know. Would you think? So we got Aussie. Wondering if Aussie's bottomed out. I was long Aussie last week, and it was kind of disappointing. And you know, it looks like it's trying again this week, and you know, of course, it's going to break through without me, but I'll catch the next round. But anyways, let's take a look at this. Aussie is bullish, technically speaking. It's very bullish, in fact. Huh? Interesting. However, look at this. Very, 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 very significant decrease in bulls. Very, very, very significant decrease in bears. Still very bullish market, except nobody's in the market. There's no market. Well, there are long positions. There are still more long positions than short positions. But the total positions are down significantly. 44,955 to be precise. Enunciate and pronunciate. So yeah, pretty cool, man. It's actually 42,702. Okay. So we've gone from 53,000 all the way down to 42,000. Okay. And we're on the high end if you see that. So I don't know. So will there be a turn of events that drive commodity prices straight up? Because remember, Australia needs commodity prices to go up. You know, they need a trade surplus. Does Australia have a trade surplus right now? They typically do, but they've gone quite some time in the recent history without a trade surplus. I mean, it's kind of weird. Imagine you're a company and you buy more parts than you do selling products. Right? It's a problem, isn't it? So there's your Aussie. And kiwi. So one thing I wanted to say about kiwi, that the world is still drowning in milk. Milk consumption is suffering a bit, but other dairy products are not suffering at all. The demand for dairy products globally is high. But you remember what happened to oil when oil was at 150 and $200 a barrel? Why did that happen? Well, there was increased demand for energy around the world, especially from third world countries like China and India that were booming, right? Suddenly there's huge increase in demand. Well, the funny thing about oil is you got to go out and find it. Then you got to suck it out of the ground. Then you got to bribe every single government and tribal chief and county and municipality and state and federal government or whatever, national government. Every if a and pipe, then you got to move it around and pipelines and ships and everything. And it's a real thing. And then you got, once you got all that done, then you got to refine it into a product, and it takes a while. You don't just flip a switch and hello oil, right? Except for fracking, which is part of the technical revolution of producing oil. But that fracking is squeezing blood out of a out of a dry well is what it is. So, anyways, it's not that easy just to like go out and find more supply. I mean, you gotta look for it, right? So, anyways, what I'm getting to is their demand outstripped supply, and prices went through the roof. But this is a huge motivational factor for every company and every entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs find new ways or more efficient ways to produce oil, either find new sources of oil or get more oil out of the ground, or get more oil out of the ground cheaper, get more oil out of the ground faster and whatnot. But then there are explorers going to every corner of the globe looking for more supply, and that technology gets better because oil prices are so high, right? So every part of the process, from finding new supply to being better at pulling out what you do already have in supply out of the ground and get it into the market, right? But all of a sudden, boom, we have a lot of oil. And that coincided with a great slowdown in demand, and all of a sudden we're drowning in oil, right? Well, actually, something kind of a little bit similar happened to milk, where milk prices were very high a couple of years ago. So somebody flipped the switch, and now we got lots of cows. Right? Yeah. But so now we got pretty decent demand, but we also have more supply than there is demand right now. And so that affects New Zealand dollar, because they're the heavyweights. As a percentage of GDP, New Zealand is heavily affected by dairy prices. So I look at this and like, wowzer. Now, currently, the Kiwi did bounce off that support line that we had, I don't know, last month. So it looks like it's going now, but it's probably, something that may not last forever, but we'll take a look at it. But I just, that's what's on my mind, where um, dairy prices are still expected to be low for quite some time. So let's take a look. The market is net bearish and flat, 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 flat for many weeks in a row. Okay. Short positions are increasing and long positions are basically flat. So when you look at the market now, so I'm looking to my left here. This chart right here is Kiwi. When I look at Kiwi, Right now, it looks short-term bullish. Question is, do I believe it's long-term bullish? Well, I have to remain a skeptical, or sorry, I have to remain a skeptic whom is skeptical about the long-term outlook for New Zealand dollar until something changes. And of course, I can use technical analysis for that first as the canary in the coal mine, right? But then if it truly is bullish, over the next few weeks, we should see a change in this COT report, where I would like to see an increase in bullishness and a decrease in bearishness. Well, if this was August or September, I'd probably be tripping all over myself to buy that Kiwi yen. But because it's May, I'm not. But I have no problem buying it, right? But at the same time, down the road, if in a few days or in a week or so, I also have no problem selling it. So just got to pick and choose your battles, right? Be a simple kind of man. CAD. CAD fell off the face of the earth. Well, isn't that special? What happened to CAD, huh? Who would have thought the Canadian dollar would have fallen off the face of the earth? Oh, well. Anyways, let's take a look at why that happened. There's been an increase in longs in the last 2 or 3 weeks, but a significant amount of bearishness. And I don't mean sentiment, I mean bearish positions. So back in the 20th of February, we had 34,000 short positions. And we now have 95,000 short positions. Ho, 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 ho. Whoo-wee. When was the last time we had 95,000 short positions? January 11th, 2016. So you got to be careful, boy. If you're a buyer, you got to be careful. But of course, one of the things that people use COT for is to look at extremes in the market and then predict a collapse in the market because it's unsustainable. So you could say shields up, red alert, where as we approach 100,000 short positions, we might want to say that that could be a peak. Wouldn't that be interesting? Well, that would be your alpha, baby. Okay. And that sounds really good, right? You're like, we've looked at past data. When the Canadian dollar gets over short like that, then there's going to be profit taking and a potential collapse. Your client says, that's really good. That's really good. Yeah, that's good alpha. Let's get in it. And then you have to explain to them that that means you're going to have to sell an incredibly bullish market. But trust me. Huh? I'd be careful, bro. Thank you for posting your trade plans on forex.today. I hope you're giving each other feedback. Some good posts here. Ah, look at that. Daniel's going long, Kiwi dog, huh? Trickle it up and then catch the pullback. Yeah. This is monthly, huh? You know, the sad thing is it's only a couple hundred pips if you get it all right. And considering it's been heading down for forever, it's a little it's a a little it's a higher risk and unfortunately not a lot of reward. Huh? That's too bad. We're looking for a buy opportunity the first day of the yeah. Yeah, I get it. Just wish there was more meat on the bone, huh? But what are you going to do? I mean, what it tells me though is, at least emotionally, I'm preparing for this to kind of move up and then move down and move up. Like I don't, in other times of the year, let's say, or in other scenarios, like let's say weekly pivots, if you have a really tight week, I expect like a breakout week because all it tells me is the time before was really narrow. So now you get narrow pivots, which means they're easy to break out relative to sort of normal, um, in this case, average monthly range, right? But I have a feeling that we are going to tighten as far as range. It's May now. Then we got, June, and then after that, toit, right? Toit. So maybe we're prepping for that. Who knows? Yeah, I'll look at peso. Obviously, that was a good short on Friday, and then maybe today. Did anybody take it on Friday? We did cover it on Friday. This simple kind of man. Yeah, this scenario is tough, man. That's why you got to buy it like right at the open. I like the detail, Daniel. This is a good post. Yeah, up into there, pull it back. Yeah, I like all of that. Did everybody give Daniel a like for taking the time of posting that? Oh, one person out of 49. It's a little lame. Come on, guys. I got to log in. Ah, come on. So you're going to put the password in? Well, I am going to go back and I'm going to like Daniel's post. Oh, where'd it go? Let's see what the Wizard's up to. All right. Little squiggly, but I get it. Yep. Yep, there's definitely stuff going on there. There's some green down there. I get that too. Yep. 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 Looking at this, it's got room to fall if it wants to. Doesn't say up yet, not like this did. It's at support. So this is Kiwi dollar, okay, versus Kiwi yen on the other one. It's got room to fall, but you wouldn't expect much. Let's take a look. Market price both bearish. Price is currently at support. The 21. Oh, I see. So a rally up and a drop off a roll reversal. Like this is what he's saying. Down, up into this area, and then down again. Yep. I get that. This is the yen down, cycling about halfway around, which means it's got a ton of room to fall off that 21 if it wants to. So this is a supportive pivot cluster on the 4-hour. So that's right with support underneath it. So that's going to be the tough bounce area. Right. So like, let's move this to yellow again. It's yeah, this whole area in here, supportive. So that would, oops, on that. But because of the daily, if there's still some room, that puts this kind of thing in play later on. Yeah, no, that has been fixed, Richard and Henley. There was an update and something triggered something somewhere, and it took us like a week to figure out what tiny little bit of code was having a hiccup. Yeah, they were all old ones. So whatever the update did, it decided every email or every post ever made for those people were updated. Like, what? So it took a long time to figure out of a million lines of code what hook was doing it. So we finally found it and fixed it. So we'll have to thank the industry for the update. Apologize for that. But that shouldn't be the case anymore. So two people liked all that information for the Kiwi dollar and the Kiwi yen, multiple time frames, 2 out of 139. Wow. It's a little bit sad. Come on, guys. Gee whiz. Yeah, well, the thing is, it takes somebody a half an hour to make a post, and it takes less than 1 second to like it, and maybe 30 seconds to leave a comment. It's amazing. I know where I grew up, that'd be impolite, but it's a big world. Different cultures have different things, but Euro Aussie, huh, Kate? Kidding. See, the one thing with channels is this doesn't tell me to sell, but the bottom one tells me to buy. So the way I describe channels is a primary and a secondary. Just a little thought on that. Oh yeah, we got to do peso. We can use Stevens' chart. All right, so let's take a look. This is Stevens' chart. You can see the detail going on here. Cool. Bias, net short trend, all that kind of stuff. Cool. You got a top here, right? Call that a double top. Down, 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 down. All right, cool. Got that. Moving average crossover up here. Down, 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 down. Great. Looking for a monthly short. And this area here, if you were a bear, is the monthly short zone. Anyone that's taken the swing trading course knows that. This is, can do it with your eyes closed kind of short zone. And looks like Stevens caught that. That's really nice. All right, he's indicated here. Oops, that's supposed to be red. Come on. So he's looking for a short here. It's moderately overbought, but the most important thing is it's turning. And he's got it set at 80. So, yeah, it's not the most bearish in the world, but everything seems to be a go. Everything seems to be right. You'd want to be short a heck of a lot higher up, though. All right. And so that's one thing where, and I don't know if he's short this or what, but if your plan, guys, is to sell this because you have a swing plan, in this zone here, you can see we were in it, like solidly in it. Okay. Right. If your plan is to sell it there, you need to sell it there. Right. So not like, not two candles. Like the plan would not be to sell down here. If your plan is to sell it high in the zone, you need to be short in the zone. I need to see the entry line in the zone. I don't want to see the hesitation. The reason for it, if there is a hesitation entry, what happens is if you're wrong on this swing low, and we can be wrong. Markets change. They don't change often, but they often change when you're shorting a bearish market, right? All of a sudden the thing turns bullish. So where would it turn bullish? Well, it's going to turn bullish off the MM2, the M2, right? Why would it turn bullish there? Because that's where bulls are supposed to buy it. That's their plan. So you don't want to wait like 1.5 candles, 6 hours or 2 hours or whatever it is, and then short halfway to M2. Because now your best case scenario is break even, right? Because you have to plan for a little bounce there and then a collapse even further if you're a bear. Okay, so I just want to make that comment. If your goal was to sell it off the 55, then you should be short on the 55, because what happens is you face less risk down here. Your stop is closer, so you face less risk up there, and of course, if you get it right, you make more money. So Don't hesitate. Quick on the draw. I thought I'd be dead. He put the pips to my head, and this is what he said. Yep, bringing it all down. Yep, this is all last week too, right? Yep. So we'll take a closer look at it for today's move. You can see the Friday cycle. People are already doing it, right? Remember the last day and the first day of the month? So you had the move on Friday. Oh, here's a comment. This is posted in Forex books. This should be in Forex trading ideas. Okay, Mr. Gray. Reminds me of Reservoir Dogs. Why do I have to be Mr. Pink? Why can't I have a cool name like Mr. Gray or Mr. Black? So I'm going to thumbs up this one because I'm not a cold-hearted snake. Cool. So let's take a look at where we are on this trade now. Okay. So last week we got it all set up. Okay. Isn't that special? Coming off of resistance, confirmation of resistance. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's not that we talked about it on Friday. It's that I talked about it, near the last day of the month 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I've done videos on it multiple times, right? I've spoken about it at conferences, at training events, at webinars, right? So here's the interesting thing. It's almost like common knowledge that you should be, I don't know, doing this on Friday. I don't know. Did we cover the possible short on Friday? Just stretching there. Did we cover it? Like it's all resistance up here. Here's a huge gray zone. That even though this pair's been up like every day of the week for almost forever, that we should be preparing to sell it. Don't think so, but it was mentioned. Okay, I guess so. I don't know. I can't do everything, right? But I thought we did, though. I mean, look at the chart, right? Like I don't do this analysis like this for myself, all day, every day, because I already know it's there, right? Um, but anyways, you should know, and if you don't, you need to ask questions. But I would assume that anyone that's been hanging with me for a year or two or three or four or five or six or seven or eight would know that the last day of the month you buy the Mexican peso. Like this is one of those, neat little tricks in the market that buy you a bigger boat or send your kids to a better school. That kind of thing. Like, I don't know, it's not everything, but it's something. Richard's like, for the last 6 months. So he knows for the last 6 months, faux show. So anyways, once again, look at the video. See, here's the funny thing, like on my point of view, right? I feel like I'm shoving food into a baby's mouth, right? Like, eat it, eat it. No, I don't like mashed potatoes. Eat it. Right? Like, but I can't. It's a very difficult thing for me to force you to do the things that I teach you. And I wish I could sometimes, right? Come on, I'm shaking it. Come on, sell us everything. No, I don't want to sell I don't want to sell the USD Mexican peso on the last day of the month. Sell it, sell it. No, I don't want to do it. Like, gee whiz, kid. Trying to make you rich. No, I want to do it my way. I want to explore different ways. I want to invent something new. Right? So I don't know. It's funny. I hope you find it funny. I don't know. It's tragically funny, right? Tragic, tragic comedy. So, anyways, you should know. Uh, you should know. I don't know how else to say. Oh wow, look at that! My browser opened over 2 windows. All right, let's do it again. Because I thought we did this on Friday too, but you know, I'm old, right? So I get my months mixed up, and pretty soon it'll be my years mixed up. Like my dad's funny, right? He's like, "Oh man, like 20 years ago, I did such and such and such." I'm like, Dad, that was like 42 years ago. Yeah, everything's 20 years ago, right? All right. So, how to trade the MXN and why it works. How about that? Let's try that. Help me, Google, help me. How about this one? 12-minute Forex trading strategy. How to scalp the Mexican peso. All right, good enough. There she be, eh? Like 876 views, 26 likes. What a shame. I'm telling you, in Canadian culture, um, you know, somebody's brother would come over and beat you up because that's just rude. I don't know. I don't know. It's just funny. Different, different cultures, different folks, different strokes. Friday on peso, you said monthly pivots not in play. Yeah, those last ones. Yeah, trade the price action off. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense. So, anyways, there's the link if you guys haven't seen it. Coolio, right? And leave a like or something, huh? Come on. Come on. Leave a like. Right out loud. So, yeah, so what, you know, so I can't see what the pivots were last month. It's just it's what this algorithm does. I could switch it and do the other one, but it takes so much time. But the thing is, yeah, you have to acknowledge what's working in the market and what's not working. Like, what are the other traders doing and what are the other traders not doing? And last month, they were not clearly playing off the pivots, right? So you had to do price action. And I guess we were looking at death crosses and stuff on the daily or something like that. Um, but yeah, you got to acknowledge, oh, yeah, I remember this. It was selling off the 55 for crying out loud on the second last day of the month, right? I remember this now. Come on. But, oh, yeah, look at it. It's beautiful. The message here, though, and the difficult part, I think, in most trading, like just everything, let's just talk about trading everything, is making a decision about something that hasn't happened yet. Okay? Okay? This is what trading's all about, to say, well, in the near future, I think this I think something will happen, right? I think something will happen in the near future, therefore I will prepare for that. That's what trading really is. And traders that do not have consistent results, or the ones that are stuck in break even forever, like the friend zone, right? You're in the friend zone, right? You're a full-time forex trader, but you don't make any money. It's what happens is sometimes you get into trades late and it makes you money, but then sometimes you get into trades late and it doesn't make you money because it came to an end, where sometimes you get lucky and it continues going despite your late entry. But like I showed in that other trade, it's better to be prepared, and wherever you've decided to sell, you sell as close to that as possible. Or wherever you decide you might want to buy in the near future, you buy it as close to that price as possible, because then you have a smaller stop, which means your losses are smaller, right? But if you do get it right, you'll make more money. And and if you wait too long, and you're a bull and you wait too long to buy at support, you wait one or two or three green candles, then what ends up happening is you say, okay, it's definitely bounced at my support, I'm definitely a bull, so now I'll buy it. But you end up buying it near the bear sell zone. And if you lack confidence, which you may if you're trading late, then what happens is you'll get a red candle, and your stop will be too close, or you won't have the fortitude to stay in, or whatever, and you end up taking the loss, and then it probably will go up without you, right? So you just get caught in this friend zone where you're like I said, it's a full-time job that doesn't pay you any money. So you're close, right? But you got to close the deal. If you're going to be a bull, you need to buy as close to that support as possible. But making the decision of whether to be a bull or bear in the near future is really where the money's made, right? So what we were talking about last week, and this was actually somebody else's trade plan off the 55. I don't recall me seeing that before we talked about it. I think it was somebody else. But the point is, near the last day of the month, the first day of the month, right? Whatever you want to call it. Let's say the last day of the month. You should know there's only one thing you could possibly prepare for. Now, we don't know if it'll show up, which is always the case in a trade plan. Okay? But there's only one thing to prepare for. Where, in other currency pairs and stuff, we don't have that kind of luxury, right? Maybe you should be bearish on euro dollar this week, or maybe you should be bullish on something else, or what should we do with the pound? And it's always one or the other. But with this trade, it's just a trick, right? It's just a little trick. But the interesting thing about it, it's a trick in one direction based on logic, but there's never an opportunity, never in a million years based on logic, would you say, oh, at the last day of the month, maybe I will buy USD Mexican peso. It's impossible based on the logic, right? So at near the end of the month, you should say to yourself, because I have taught you, I don't feel like it's my responsibility. I've taught you, you should know, you should study, you should do your research, you should do your homework. I mean, if you were prepared, you got paid, and if you got paid, you deserved it, right? So anyways, near the end of the month, you should say to yourself, I think the Mexican peso might get stronger, and therefore I'll prepare it. Now, I do remember covering this now, guys. Gee whiz. Don't you remember doing this? I pointed this out. That was a short. 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 And then we did this. And I'm like, guess what? That might be a short. Right? I remember doing this now. Come on. So anyways, so you say to yourself, I don't know if it's going to turn red here, but I'm going to prepare because it did turn red here. Right? It did turn red here. Now, granted, these were bearish markets, right? And so it's a little trickier now that we've had, basically a whole month up. But it's still the thought where you're either going to sell, right? Like, think of it this way. You're either going to sell in the next 48 hours or you're not. That's it, right? And it's an ambush, guys, using the military strategy. It's an ambush. You're sitting there waiting. And if you see red candles, bow, 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 fire for effect, right? And now you can see that the USD Mexican peso is kind of thinking maybe to going up now. Well, that increases your risk a little bit and probably reduces your reward, maybe significantly. But boy, you could have made some money in January and February and March and April, right? And of course, paid like 6.5% interest on top of that. And if you're leveraged 100 to 1, that's 600% a year in interest payments. Remember how I often talk about figuring one thing out, like mastering one thing? Master it, master it, master it, master it, master it, master it, master it. And then PCE core -1, well, 0.1. PCE deflator -0.2. Wow. 1.6 and 1.8 year over year. Personal spending flat. Oh, wow. All those numbers are pretty lame. That's interesting. I would have thought the fundamentals pointed to higher numbers, but we got sort of disappointing numbers across the board on the PCE core and deflator and personal income, personal spending. So that's going to pull GDP down. Newsflash: GDP is going to be a miss. Okay. Going back to what we were saying. Yeah. So, anyways, this could be one of your one things. You know what I'm talking about? Right? This could be one of your one thing. You know, the day, like a 48-hour window, and you even know the direction. Right? So, is it possible that that is something you can pay attention to every month till the end of the year, the next 7 months? It's a 48-hour window. Doesn't require minute by minute watching, right? But you know exactly when to do it and what to do. So what is the excuse of not doing it, right? Oh, okay, cool. So I don't know. There you go. It's just, I've just pointed it out because it's always refreshing. Um, I think because it is something that is you're capable of, right? This should be something that earns you a little bit of money. Is it going to be your career? No, probably not. Would you make a big deal about it? Would you, put big, heavy trades on it? No, none of that sounds conservative and disciplined. But it should be something that you catch. Should be something that you enjoy once a month. And very often, like these kind of like trick trades, sort of like counter trend trades and stuff. I don't really like them but they're there and you know when to look for them. And if things go well, these sort of freebies pay for some of your unfortunate losses, because we all have losses throughout the month, and they should all be unfortunate because you had a trade plan. So obviously, if you bought or sold, it made a lot of sense. So for you to lose money, it was kind of like a little bit shocking, right? Very unlucky. Wow, wow, look at that. Unfortunate. Well, in this case, a trade like this, let's say you made $1,000, right? Well, it pays for some unfortunate stuff throughout the month, and maybe just lowers your overall volatility and lowers your drawdown a little bit. And you know, I think what a loser would do is say, "Wow, I had big losses early in the month, so I'm going to load the boat on the Mexican peso trade and make it back." Well, don't worry, your account's going to blow up someday, anyways. So, anyways, there's that. I've beaten that donkey to death, right? And maybe there's some follow through on this, right? That's for you to decide. No, 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 no. All right, so let's go surfing now. Gold, still nothing happening, right? Did you see the opportunity last night? Okay. So I don't know. If you're bull, maybe. If you're bear, maybe. I think you should decide what you need to do. Still, like, look what we're playing now. This is just tight, right? Nobody knows what to do with it. It's a little bizarre, right? Because it's not clearly a pivot point, is it? I love it when it turns exactly on a pivot point. Then I say, then it tells me that's what other people are doing. And I don't get that right now with gold either, right? And peso wasn't doing that last month as well. You know, I couldn't tell you for sure that it was monthly pivots or something. And this doesn't tell me for sure that it's weekly or monthly pivots. But it seems like we're consolidating, and I still would sell high. How about you? One way to know you're selling high is to look at this area. I didn't mean that to be an arrow, but let's just go with it. Okay. Now, do you sell high simply because your oscillator is overbought? No. So how do you do it then? If price is at resistance and your oscillator is overbought, then you sell. But you need to make a decision on direction before anything happens. Because even if you're wrong, or well, let's say even if you decided to be a bull and you bought at support when it was oversold, like here, for example, right? You probably still made money or broke even. Okay. If you were, here, well, even that wasn't quite right. I guess it was here and you bought here. Again, you probably got out at break even, right? But let's say you're a bear, and at this point, you're definitely a bear. Okay. And you're looking for opportunities to sell high, right? This is supposed to be like this, but you get it, right? There you go. You're still supposed to be selling high when it's overbought, right? Some are better than others relative to things. But the fact that we haven't made a lower low is the troublesome part, okay? And I wouldn't assume that we are still bearish, but I would remain bearish, okay? Does that make sense? Because we should have made a lower low here, okay? Now this trade plan, I think we did way back here. This one here where it would drop, retrace up and drop again. So this is already like 2 weeks ago. And so you could see that that's what I expected. And everything technically was fine for that to happen, but it didn't happen. So I'm almost like, you know, I would still sell here. I'm just less enthusiastic. Robbie would say, I'm going to say, oh, you're looking to long? See, I wouldn't long until we broke out. Okay? Like that. And what would your reasoning be? Like the Fed doesn't raise interest rates this time around and they save it for June? Sure. All right. But yeah, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that. Alaska, earthquake in Alaska. Yeah, so I'm not ready for that. But also, you got to be careful as an independent trader. What happens is you end up trading everything, and I think in the long run that can start to affect your consistency. Okay. Oh, you're doing it that way? Yeah. Geopolitical, you can go long gold. Yeah, but see, I wouldn't bet on that. See, there's a difference. If it happened, all right, then I can always get in, right? But what I was suggesting is that, and I've suggested this before, you open up different accounts and you have a marketable trading idea for each account. And a marketable trading idea, in this case, you would say, this call it like a fund. This fund is bullish gold. Maybe you can give 3 or 4 reasons, right? You can give 3 or 4 reasons why gold will go up, and then you say this fund buys gold. It's bullish gold, and that's all it does. Think of it like an ETF or something, right? Your job is so much more simple if you've made the decision. So have an account that only buys gold. And therefore, you wake up in the morning and you spend a whopping 4 minutes identifying today's levels of support. You either buy there or you don't buy there, and you're ultra long gold. And that's it. And maybe you have another account, and all it does is ultra short yen. And think of it this way, if you could market it. So let's say you just traded it successfully for the next 3 years. And then you took it to an investor and said, by the way, this fund, all it does is short Japanese yen, and it uses, seasonality to its advantages, right? And all it does is short yen. But we know it's only going to produce, let's say, in the back half of the year. But you could explain that to a client, right? And another one is maybe ultra long dollar. But if you're ultra long dollar, then you can never, ever, 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 ever sell dollar no matter what happens. But, and you might miss weeks of movement. But if you find yourself like stuck in that friend zone again, right? Right? Where you're just lacking the consistency, it might be because you don't have a consistent strategy. So even if you miss weeks of euro dollar going up, it should be okay as long as there are weeks when the euro dollar is going down and you capture that. And at the end of the year, you look at your trading results and you're up, which you may not be doing now, right? But at least you're up because when it fell, you hit it hard. And when it went up, you were not in it anymore. Right? You see what I mean? I would like for you to pigeonhole yourself into a bias and just test for a year, only trading the bias, enjoying things when you're right or the market agrees with your bias, and not participating when the market doesn't agree with your bias, and see if you have a better year. And I honestly believe you will, because you're a specialist and you only trade when market conditions are favorable versus sitting down 6 hours a day looking for trades, gambling degenerately, playing your video game called forex, and just getting very inconsistent, undesirable returns or results, right? And then imagine, again, I call it my marketable idea. Even if you had some trading results, but you were jackpot thing, an investor would never really know what you're going to do with his or her money over the long time. Um, this other one does, you can buy into that too. Because that's really how funds work, right? Blah, blah, blah fund. We got fund A, fund C, fund D. So anyways, you're going to enjoy the upside. Okay? There's no doubt about it. I wouldn't bet on it now. It started making our highs and our lows. And um, I get it, but I need to do it until there's technical confirmation. But I don't, their fingernails over $40 escrow. So he dumps his gold. Happened, bro. Happened. Pound Swiss, what's going on? Weekly short. You guys buying some Swissy? That's a big risk off, huh? Or is it just pig? Well, pound yen is still very bullish. Look at the weekly M3, guys. Right? So again, bias and your one hit wonder strategy. You do one thing, but you do it good. You do it well. Okay. So let's just say you're buying Swiss franc. I'm making it up. Why not? Okay. You don't like the global economy, you risk off. Great. You do one thing. What is this? Sell zone. What is this? Sell zone. Right. What is this? Uh, okay. So what is this? Sell zone. Right. Sell zone. Sell zone. Sell zone. Okay. It's not perfect. It's not pretty. It's not precise, but it's reasonable. Okay. And that's it. And it's always easier if you make this decision. Right. So this, I just don't like your own. I don't like it. I don't. Right. So, if the ball, It's more. Great, great. You got it. What are you going to do? Buy it? No. Just candles. Anyways, I've got so you know, you can join me.